back, everybody, to another episode of Gas is on the Right. No, he's got a chance to win the race.
I think that might have been like one of the cleanest hits I've ever seen in a NASCAR fight.
Side Rick. Yeah, the back. Oh! Oh! Into the wall hard goes Ryan Blaney.
And he finally came to a stop. And it was just dead silent.
I said this last week, and I'm going to keep reiterating it. Live with the decisions you make, drive by the decisions you make. Don't change up your style, but also just don't be dumb. Hi.
Hey. Hey. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Gas is on the Right podcast. We're going to talk about Sonoma this week, but before we jump into that, we're going to do our social media plug. Alan, pop that bad boy up for us.
Oh, popping it up.
All right. This is where you can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, X, or Twitter, or whatever you want to call it, YouTube. And then we're on all the podcast streaming platforms, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, yada, yada, yada. All those good things. We're on. You can find us anywhere. All right. Let's get started with Sonoma.
Well, to start off with the Xfinity race, you have SVG winning for the second week in a row. But they are back-to-back road courses, so you kind of have to take that a little bit into consideration.
His background, of course.
I think he's dethroned AJ Allmendinger as the Xfinity Road Course King.
Mm-hmm.
I would say so, especially with how Colleague's been running.
Because did you see I think it was the end of the first stage, that him and Ty Gibbs were 10 seconds ahead of the entire pack and 20 laps. That's insane.
Yeah, they got
no
way
one
out.
was in the same zip code with them.
So.
And then you also have SVG and Austin Hill, which that's
the saga
just a funny
continues.
picture. Alan just sent me the picture. I didn't even see the video.
Yeah, I got it from Daniel.
Of
Austin Hill hanging the bird out the window as SVG just fills his mirror and car with tire smoke from his second round the course burnout.
Mm-hmm.
So, Burnout King also now established. Dude,
that's insane. Him drifting around an entire road, and he could have done a lot better, but Austin Hill was mad and was totally cock blocking his celebration to where he couldn't just completely burn it down. I don't know if y'all noticed that
Oh yeah.
But every time he got going, Austin Hill would slow down to where he'd have to slow down. I was like, that's hilarious.
But then burned him down at the start finish line. Yeah, second week in a row of a little feud going on there that's starting to boil.
I was gonna say,
more.
do we feel like
it started all the way back at COTA.
I was gonna say, yeah, let's start at the beginning, and then Alan, what happened this past week?
So, well, like Daniel said, it started at COTA, and then it translated to Portland, where they were both leading late in the race, or they were racing for the lead late in the race, and a lot of jostling back and forth yet again. And you see that happening again this week, too.
And I felt like at Portland, they were pretty clean.
Portland was just hard racing, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I don't feel like they were getting into each other hard or anything. That was a pretty clean one to me.
Yeah. So, but I almost feel like Sonoma Saturday was payback for COTA.
Oh, SVG said it in his post-race interview. He said, Austin Hill cost me a win at COTA, and I guess I cost him one here.
Yeah, because SVG basically dive bombed. What would that be? Turn 2. I think it's considered turn 1. Actually, turn 1.
Turn 2.
I'm gonna be honest. I never know in road
I think
courses.
it's one. I think it's 1A and 1B with those first two S's, but that's what. I don't know so much if he dive bombed it or Austin Hill just did not leave him a lane to be there.
So, yeah.
I think it was a little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both, I would say, but he ended up running Austin out wide, and SVG having the preferred lane coming off of that turn 1A, 1B, or 2, whatever it is, was able to retain the lead while Austin Hill got mired back into about 7th place on what was the final restart of the race. Yeah.
Yeah, he ended up coming back for a 5th place finish, but
But
yeah, he was not
yeah,
happy about that.
no, which that Xfinity race was really good, honestly. That was,
hmm
again, they continue to be a very competitive racing viewing experience compared to the Cup Series these last few, I mean, just this entire year thus far. Now, the Cup Series has had its moments, but there have been a lot of moments for the Xfinity Series too that have been just as good. The Cup Series has a
hmm
close finish at Atlanta. Xfinity has a close finish at Texas. Cup Series has uh, okay super speedways. Xfinity Series has fuel mileage super speedways. I mean, it's been really cool to just be able to have two, and sometimes with the trucks, three really fun series to watch all weekend.
hmm
So it's not you don't have any dead space in there in the weekend in the race weekend. So I've been very excited and happy about that because you get excited for an Xfinity race now.
Oh
Like
yeah.
5 years ago, 3 years ago, that's not a thing.
Mm-mm.
So, but
Well,
you also
another thing that's not on this list that was happening in the Xfinity race. Did y'all see Ty Gibbs's meltdown when he got in that parking lot wreck and he just
oh yeah.
decided to hold it down and just spin around in circles and whoever he hit, he hit.
Yeah, he actually
I was about to say I actually did not
He
watch
took
the
out Chandler
Xfinity.
Smith too.
JGR imploded this weekend at
hmm
the
Mhm.
at the cost of Ty Gibbs. So he got mired into this big wreck, held it wide open like you said, just cutting around
Pitching a
Brandon
fit.
Jones right there, pitching a fit, and then ended up taking out the 81 car of Chandler Smith, his teammate,
Then
of
he
all
also
people.
hit when he got
And then
straight, he hit Boris Said too.
he door slammed Boris said under caution for who knows why,
Oh.
other than just being angry. So,
Yeah, I'm
and
the only black car.
I found it very comical that Sunday he got a early retirement from Sonoma in the Cup Series race, and I feel like karma is a thing.
Yeah.
Karma is, as they would say, a bitch, and he got bit.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, no, that was that was honestly one of the highlights of the Xfinity Series race was watching that meltdown.
Do we want to go over all of JGR's implosions this weekend?
Well, yeah, that leads to some
That's
more
a good
karma
segue into
with
Yeah, I was
Sunday.
gonna say.
Yeah.
yeah, with Denny Hamlin blowing up on lap 3 after talking crap about SMI and their
Yep.
paving, and then blows up lap 3.
And he doesn't blow up like we've seen blow ups. Like this car blows up.
Mhm.
hmm
I mean, I've never seen so much smoke pour out of a car that wasn't doing a burnout.
Yeah, he
So,
claims he didn't miss a shift. I listened to his podcast. He said he didn't miss a shift. It just blew up. He said it was the 3rd race on that motor.
well,
Wow.
note to self: don't talk crap about SMI.
Yeah. It was it made me think of, in the I think it's Cars 2 where they got the camera that when they put the
Oh
infrared
yeah.
through the camera it makes the cars blow up. It made me think of that.
Yeah, SMI snuck somebody in the pits Saturday night into the garage area. So,
Yep. And then with the repave, what are your guys' thoughts on the repave? How did it play out for you guys?
well, luckily our series didn't get asphalt coming up in chunks
Mhm.
like the
hmm
first couple races on that track. With that said, being a road course, I don't know how much it went into play. Obviously, we have the same issue we have everywhere, and that's tires, and they're not wearing.
I was gonna say I feel like this was a sneaky way for y'all to sneak in tires this week.
So, well, again,
Well, I
we
mean,
had,
that's with every new pave.
yeah,
I know, I'm just saying we've talked about tires every single week this year.
we have.
I'm not
This
gonna
was y'all's
harp
way of
so
not
much on the tire
explicitly putting tires in this script.
because I
I,
think the fact that the tires didn't wear and with how this repave went, obviously they shattered the track record, the old track record by like 2 seconds, I think.
yeah, Joey
So
Logano did that with his pole run.
I think Michael McDowell said with how normally like you can run 80% around Sonoma and be really competitive, you have to not with this repave, you have to run qualifying laps, lap after lap after lap after lap. And I think that's why in the beginning of the race there was so much calamity, because everybody's just running as hard as they can on this new track that's got new grip, but you don't really know the full extent of the boundaries. And that's why Sonoma is one of my favorite road courses, because there is a penalty if you get off the course. There's no 25-second penalty. If you get off in the dirt, you're off in the dirt, and you got to wait for everybody to pass you to get back on the track, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think the repave is what led to the calamity because of how hard everybody could go. They were testing boundaries that they never really had to test at that racetrack before because of the difference in grip level. And that's why I'm not like super upset about the tire falling off, because they were able to continue just to keep pushing the boundary, and you got to see them progress and learn, because in the first two stages you had what, 8 cautions, and then the third stage runs
Yeah.
caution free, and you just see
Yeah.
the progression of the drivers learning, to me, and figuring it out to where the race gets cleaner as they go. At least that's
Yeah.
how I perceived
Mhm.
it.
No, I can agree with that.
No, I
Um,
can definitely agree.
and I mean, it's with a repaved new asphalt, it doesn't wear. It's not supposed to. Asphalt's not made to just burn up tires. So I would just say that it was a good event. It was a good race, and you definitely had quite the calamity. Um, this this time around in the first two stages, with the pace car leading a lot of laps compared to the leaders. So
Well, and especially compared to the previous road courses we've been running with no cautions
yeah,
at all.
but I think that also created a lot of strategy and differing strategy. Is also with those cautions, it allowed for a lot of fuel saving measures. So I think within the
Hmm.
first 40 laps, 50 laps, half of those were ran under caution because of the
Hmm.
calamity that was ensuing across the track. So that
That's
differing
what I think. What Larson, Elliott, and like 5 other people, I think Reddick, Chastain, and a couple others, they didn't pit.
Keselowski.
They didn't pit. Yeah, Keselowski. They did not pit until like 6 laps to go in stage two.
Yeah, it was your top seven stage
Hmm.
one winners that stayed out and did not pit, which would have been, um, if I can pull them up here, we'll have the actual guys. Emily, the top seven did not pit. Who were they?
Reddick, Blaney, Larson, Elliott, Bowman, McDowell, Chastain. Yeah, Chastain. I had to
Yeah.
count for a second.
Yeah, so those guys did not pit until almost the end of stage two. But again, a 40 lap fuel window, and I don't know exactly what the stage breaks were. I don't remember offhand. Um, but the caution laps definitely played a factor into that. So, but again, created very good varying strategies that we saw all across the board. You obviously had your guys that pit early, you have your guys that pit at the stage breaks, and you have your guys that try to run long. And for a lot of guys,
Hmm.
it panned out for the most part, except they tried to set up for the win there at the end.
Yeah,
So,
everybody was making their last, and really, if at any point a caution would have came out before Larson and the other 6 pitted, it would have completely ruined their day. And I'm gonna be honest, when Kyle Larson came out of the pits in 8th place, 11 seconds back, I was like, well, he might make it to like the top 5, but I doubt he's gonna just drive through the field and get to first place. And honestly, I think if Martin Truex could have cleared Chris Buescher a little bit sooner than he did and been able to save one corner of fuel
he'd
and
been all
just be
right.
able to distance himself from Buescher, I don't know if uh, Larson could have got Truex.
Right.
I mean,
So it's hard to say what
it's
really was
hard
the
to get
best
Truex.
strategy, you know?
It's not
Yeah.
hard to not get Truex if he doesn't have gas.
Yeah, I guess Ryan Blaney's team figured out his fuel mileage situation this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
They're
Yeah,
like, run as
can they
long as you
pass
can.
tips on?
yeah, do not take tips from Penske on fuel saving.
Yeah. Mhm.
So,
Well, someone else who ran out of gas, Mr. Kyle Busch, and he got,
mhm.
you've been chastained.
Yeah. And you gotta love it. Thank you to Fox for making this their last race of 2024. Because the amount of in-car camera footage that I've had to watch to be able to see what happened is
Yeah.
egregious. We're talking like the Chastain Bush. You're on the final lap, top 5 guys racing for a top 5 in points.
Right.
2 guys
Mhm.
that don't have a
I
win
don't
this
need to
season.
see Larson 5 seconds ahead of everybody.
Yeah,
I
we
already
already
know
know
where
what's
Like
he
gonna
he
happen.
is.
won. We get it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, I don't even care if like we didn't see it happen in real time. But why is there no cameras on it? That has been the testament to the Fox crew this season. And thank you NBC for starting in Iowa because I am
Mhm.
ready for some fresh commentary
Well, they
and
also
fresh
missed
faces.
They missed another Chastaining on the last lap, except it was Chastain getting Chastained by Chase Elliott in turn 11.
Yep, that was an in-car footage I saw today too. Is Elliott absolutely sent him.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wait, I want to talk about the stage 2 results real quick because I saw it, but I forgot to put it in the script about how surprised I actually kind of was because you have Priest in the top 2 along with
That was one of those
Harrison
things
Burton.
to where, yeah, that was just one of those things to where the top 7 guys is where there's so many varying strategies, and obviously your top 7 guys pit, so that brings people from 9th and
Right. No,
back into the top 10.
I'm not
But
saying that,
it
but
was
like
also a lot of varying strategy because I think they ended up having to pit at the stage 2 break because you didn't really see them again.
I will say this though, I think that they did set themselves up for because they had to run that for most of the stage.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew that those guys were going to have to pit at some point during the stage. It was
Mm-hmm.
just a matter of when because they knew they
Yep.
couldn't make the end of the stage. So these guys
Yep.
set themselves up and then raced there for the majority of the stage or wherever their pit cycle fell, if it was halfway
Mm-hmm.
through or at the beginning of stage 2, to be able to be there. So
and that's what I was gonna
Well, and
say
to
is that
give
is
Ryan
very
Priest credit, for a minute he was challenged. What was it, Truex that ended up winning the stage, or Busher?
Busher. And he was challenging
Busher.
Busher. It was
Yeah,
the
he
three
was
of them.
challenging him for the lead, and then
Yeah.
he ended up falling off. But it's not like he wasn't there, you know?
I'm going to be honest. You put Ryan Priest in some better equipment, he's going to win the road course.
What did he end
Or
up
He's
short track.
finishing?
or a short track. Well, the road course for sure, the short track for sure as well. He's got a really good handle on these road courses, which is interesting. Just kind of given his background, that
Mm-hmm.
he's surprisingly as good as he is, but he doesn't get the finishes I think that he deserves though. But he's got the
No. Well, I
skill
mean,
to
you can
win
see
one.
that where he's at in points.
Right. But no, I definitely think he has the skill to win one for sure. So, but where are we on to from here?
We've kind of jumped around all episodes so far.
Well, I guess we'll do this. Um, let's talk about the first half of 2024 Cup Series because
What a
Sonoma
whirlwind.
is Sonoma. It's a good road course. It was a race with some calamity and with a kind of not great ending, in my opinion, just because I think Larson had a deserving car, but I don't think he had the deserving car.
Mm-hmm.
So, but kudos to him for being able to run through the field. That 5-tune's firing on all cylinders continuously, week in and week out. I don't know if we'll ever see them hit a drought at the rate they're going right now.
I feel like it will eventually come. Eventually it will, and I think that's
Where we're standing.
yeah, I don't know when. I don't see it anytime soon, but I also could see it late this season, early next.
It's going to be when we hit the super speedways again.
You think
When you
so?
hit 3 in 5 weeks, and end of August, beginning of September.
That is his Achilles heel.
Yeah, you got Daytona, then 2 weeks later Atlanta, and then 2 more weeks Talladega. So better stack up those points right now. The best way to do it is win races. So Kudos to Larson. But yes, the first half of 2024 is finally behind us. I say finally. I think it was a very solid first half.
It was.
But yeah,
minus the broadcasting.
Yeah, Emily, we'll start with your thoughts and then go to Daniel of the first half of 2024. Just in general. Yeah.
I feel very put on the spot right now.
Do you want Daniel to go first?
Yes.
Daniel, 2024.
Are we talking about the racing aspect or the broadcasting aspect?
All aspects. You can go
All
across the board.
aspects? Okay.
Don't make it a 15-minute
Broadcasting.
tangent,
I'm just gonna rate them A through F with little to no explanation.
All right.
So broadcasting.
Broadcasting.
Mhm.
Cup broadcasting. C+. Xfinity broadcasting. B+. I didn't watch enough truck races to give them a grade. The NASCAR on mile and a halfs, A+. Everything else, B-.
Okay.
Pretty solid.
Best race so far of 2024.
Bristol, man. Bristol still just sticks out in my mind.
Bristol is
and maybe it's because I'm a Bristol stan, but
Bristol. Okay. All right, Emily.
I feel like you're gonna ask me that same question and I will have no answer for you because we've had a lot of good races this season. No, broadcasting, I completely agree with Daniel. I think we have had a very entertaining season. I think a lot of drivers who we thought were gonna do great didn't do so great. I think we've had a lot of entertaining stuff just outside of the racing.
Yeah. A lot of
There's been a
news
lot
and
of
stuff to react to.
Yes. It's been a very entertaining season just for face value entertainment,
Yeah.
if
I'd
that
agree.
makes any sense. You know, we may disagree, y'all may disagree, but I think just an average viewer, they're gonna be like, yeah, it's been a pretty entertaining season. So I think with NASCAR piggybacking off of the Netflix series, they've done a very good job. They've given a very good kind of first half of what to actually expect.
Right. The
Is
dog
that the
snoring.
cat? No, that's the cat. Sorry. The cat just started snoring. So overall, I would say, yeah, B for the first half of the season.
Okay.
Maybe a B plus. Don't ask me about my favorite race. There's been a good bit.
All right. I would say broadcasting is a D to a D minus. I would say that the rate intermediates are an A plus, the short tracks are a C minus, and the speedways are a C.
What about
road courses are a B, mainly because they create the most entertainment, in my opinion,
Calamity.
and calamity. It seems. I would say that we're set up for one of the best seasons in the next gen era. I'm intrigued to see how the rest of the season plays out, with especially with the schedule coming up and some new races coming up, especially this weekend at Iowa. I would say favorite race has probably got to be Atlanta.
I was gonna say Atlanta.
But I think that's biased because we were also there. So, but that was honestly probably one of the coolest races to attend. Attending a historic race at that point with the closest finish between the top three cars.
What would your least favorite race be this?
Charlotte.
There was no hesitation.
Well, it just made me mad because we traveled for it and then got rained out. So it's a little frustrating.
Daniel.
Excluding bitterness.
Yeah, I was gonna say excluding personal feelings out of it.
Personal vendettas taken out of it, Richmond. Oh no! Sorry, scratch that, Martinsville.
That's what I was
Richmond
gonna
at least
say.
had a storyline out of it with the restart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was either that or Coda.
Yeah. I don't know.
That was just
Coda
3
got me
bad
at the
races
end.
back to back to back.
You
Coda
would
Yeah,
got me
man.
at
say
the end
Coda
with Bell
because
chasing
Coda.
down, trying to chase down
Byron.
Byron.
Yeah, that one was
That's
a little
where
bit compelling. It would definitely
that's
be
where it really
Martinsville.
brought it
Yeah, I
up
forgot
because he
about
was
that
gaining like
compellingness.
a 2 to 2 seconds a lap.
Mm-hmm.
Now if he had caught him, who knows? But that made it compelling. Martinsville had nothing other than it showed how durable Goodyear can make a tire. And Richmond at least had the messed up restart that got jumped by the jump man. So I would have to say Martinsville out of the three is probably the least favorite this season.
Mm,
But Charlotte also outside of that because everybody was under the impression that they were going to start racing again.
mine was Vegas.
Vegas?
That was a extremely boring race.
I love
Yeah,
the
but
Coors
your
Light
pick
Bullet.
one. How can that be your least favorite race?
Yeah, like 1-1-2. Like double points won.
That doesn't
Yeah.
mean I liked the race. Just because I knew he was gonna win doesn't mean that I liked it.
Where was your competitive drive?
I'm not saying that I didn't like that I won. All I'm saying, entertainment wise, kind of strategy wise, kind of all around everything, it was a boring race. That is what I imagined NASCAR would be before I actually started watching NASCAR.
Yeah,
It just literally felt
I
like they were
recall
driving in
Just making
circles.
left turns.
Hold on. I recall in the episode that you talked about the fact that it was a strategy race.
It was a strategy race. If you were
Mm.
Kyle Larson.
I got you. Well, first half is in the books. Let's move on.
Wait, I have one question, and
Yes.
it's just a yes or no. We don't have to spend 30 minutes on it because I know that Daniel will if I allow him to have the chance to.
Are you saying I like to talk too much?
No, it's about who it's about. Do you think that Bush will win another race this season
How many times are you
would
gonna
to
ask that?
keep up his 20-year streak? We're
be
halfway through the
disappointed
season.
if he doesn't.
I am gonna be disappointed. It's 20 years this year, right?
Yeah, this will be the 20th year.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So,
You want a
well,
little fun?
Do you think he
fun
will?
fact, Emily?
I'm not gonna say like, are you gonna be disappointed? Do you think he will,
yes.
Daniel?
No, but would you like a fun fact? A short one.
It's not a race if Bush doesn't get spun.
Well, that as well. I send that every week because he spins every week.
Every week.
Did you know that Kyle Busch has not won a Daytona 500?
Mhm.
Correct? Did you know that? Just
I
say
mean-
yes. He hasn't. Okay.
I was about to say I don't think he has, but I feel like you're doing a trick question on me.
This is not entrapment right now. It was a yes. I did know. Okay. Anyways, Dale Earnhardt Sr. also took him a very long time to win his Daytona
Yes.
500 championship. Did you
Yeah.
know that the season before he won, he went winless? So maybe Kyle Busch going winless isn't the worst thing. That might make
Maybe
next
that's the
year
way to
the
his
year he wins the
Daytona
Daytona
500.
500. There's
Well,
hope.
We did our Kyle Busch episode. You were like, we are not comparing him to Earnhardt.
Well, it's just a similar situation. I'm not comparing them as drivers. I'm just comparing their situation.
he's not comparing apples to apples. He's
Comparing
comparing iPods to iPhones.
similar but different.
Similar but different. One's outdated. The other one is got to be upgraded. Anywho, so Emily, now that we are into the second half of the season, let's talk points.
So sorry, you really got me where you said one's outdated. Evelyn.
What?
Are you offended? Do you still have an iPod?
Oh man.
No, it was who was
are you
the
still
one
on
that was going to be
iTunes?
outdated between Earnhardt and Bush.
Who's the one that's outdated? Who's the one that needs to be upgraded? That's up to your. That's up to your interpretation.
I don't know which one I'm scared, like more scared of.
I'm not explaining either one because this is a rabbit
Don't
hole.
answer that question.
And
Don't answer that question.
so the points, we have 10 races until the playoffs. We have 10 races until the playoffs, starting with Iowa short track this weekend. Let's talk about the shift in the point
Gosh.
situation, not our points.
I was looking at something.
What was it, Earnhardt or Bush?
You're gonna get us canceled, Alan.
I was gonna say he needs to stop talking.
Y'all were the one that took it further than it was. The lines aren't made to be read between.
We did not make the analogy.
There's your points.
All right. Regular
This one's
season.
gonna be a mouthful because only Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano are in the same spot that they were last week.
I know. I'm gonna try my best. So you have Larson up 1.
Back to the points leader.
Elliott up 1 and Hamlin dropping 2. So you know how he had one good week. You have Reddick up 2, which all I'm gonna say is he was my very early season pick.
He was my race pick, and he had it. He had the car to beat. Sad.
All right, moving on. Sorry.
Bad.
Truex in 5th, down 1. Byron in 6th, went down 1. Keselowski in 7th, and moved up 2. My gosh. Gibbs in 8th, who moved down 1. Bell in 9th, who moved down 1. Everyone just shifted 1. Chastain in 10th, and he came up 1. Bowman in 11th, down 1. And then you have Blaney, who luckily stayed in 12th. Thank you, Blaney. Busher in 13th, who came up 1. Bubba in 14th, who went down 1. And then Bush in 15th, who came up 2, with Logano in 16th and Cindric in 17th.
Let Daniel take care of the bowl.
Yeah, I was going to say, let Daniel take care of the bowl. I'm confused on how you wrote that. Yeah, he's 18th.
All right,
okay.
so it's just tab number 17.
Yeah,
Austin
okay.
Cindric is in 18th in parentheses, and then Daniel Suarez 19th
is in 19th, knocking out Logano and Bush.
All right.
Boom.
Le bubble.
The bubble.
All right.
I was going to say, Daniel does that a lot better than I do.
The Watermelon Man, Ross Chastain, is plus 73 to the cut line. All right. Is he safe?
No.
I was going to say, I don't feel like anyone right here is safe right now.
Not any. None of them are safe. And this is my reason why. Hamlin went from the points leader to down 26. And I'm pretty sure he was up 6.
Yeah, but that was karma.
Yeah, but here's the caveat to that. The people that he lost positions to finished 1st and 4th. But Chastain finished 5th, so he's kind of safe. But think about it. Where'd Bubba Wallace finish? Don't know because he wasn't relevant. Where'd Kyle Busch finish? 12th because he got Chastained. Where'd Joe Logano finish? 21st. Where'd Chase Briscoe finish? 30-something. You see what I'm saying? Like a 73-point lead is a lot more safe in the back half of the field than in the front half because the people that are on the top are running more competitively each week. I think Chastain's safe.
So, well, that's also under the premise that we
now,
don't
if we start
have
getting
5 more winners.
If we get like 3 or 4 different winners, that's a different story. But if we're getting 3 or 4 new winners, I'd be willing to bet one of them is going to be Ross Chastain. If it's going to be new winners of people that haven't won right now.
Well, we have 9 winners this season. So, guys that have not won yet that are in this bubble situation is Truex, Gibbs, Busher, Chastain, Blaney, Bowman, Wallace, Busch, Logano, Briscoe, McDowell. Those are all drivers that have also won races in the past 2 years. So, with that, that's a lot of real estate and not a lot of people. A 73-point swing can happen in 1 week, or well, not 1 week, but you have 3 bad weeks back to back to back. You could find yourself on the other side of that bubble very quickly. And that's not to say that that's on him, but you got to remember there's guys that are below Chastain that are a Cup Series champion. You have guys down there that are expected to win, that should win, and that are on that uptick. Whereas Chastain has been there, but he hasn't been there as consistently as those guys that are working out of their point deficits right now, such as Logano and Buescher. So
I don't know.
those are some things to take into account. I don't think plus 73 is safe right now. I think with 10 more races, if I'm correct, 10 more races left before the playoffs.
12.
I don't think that's safe. 12? Is it 12?
I think so. No, you're right.
No,
10.
it's 10. Yeah. So, and you have one more super speedway in there. You have road course. You have a track that we haven't been to in this car. 2 tracks we haven't been to in this car. Coming up very soon. So there's a lot of variables that I think that are going to play out with that are going to be the deciding factor on if he could actually hold that plus 73. He's going to have to run top 12 every week to be able to guarantee himself a spot. And everybody below him too, I think they're in a worse spot than he is. So Bowman has not had the speed of the other Hendrick cars. Blaney,
He's fell off the last couple weeks because he was like 8th, and now he's down to 11th.
Yeah,
he's dropped the past few weeks.
Dropping like a rock. Blaney having 2 really bad back-to-back weeks, finishing outside the top 30 2 weeks in a row. You see where that dropped him because he was in the top 10.
Yeah, we talked about we talked about his fall from race last week when we did in Martinsville. He was 5th.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's back to 12th.
You have Buescher, who is knocking on the door right now. But, I mean, again, that's where I say that lead's not safe because he's right there. He is. He will win a race before the playoffs. I guarantee it. So, Busch and Logano are wild cards. Briscoe, I could see being consistent, but I don't think he's consistent enough to point in. And Wallace is that 23 team is right there on the cusp of really breaking through. They just haven't. It's like they're hitting a silicone door with a hammer, and they just keep hitting themselves in the head with it when it comes back. So,
what is with your analogies today?
I don't know, but I don't think. With that said, I don't think plus 73 is safe.
Here's that rebuttal is that I think Joey Logano is the only person outside of the playoffs right now that has a legitimate shot at winning. I don't think Busch can do it, and I don't think Briscoe, and I don't think anybody below that can do it. Because if Buescher wins, guess what? Chastain's still plus 73 to the cut line because Buescher's above the cut line right now.
Well, looking at it here, you got Nashville where Chastain won last year. You got the street course, which is up in the air. It is the last road course on the regular season schedule, but McDowell is a road course guy. Second place yesterday? Pocono is probably going to be Hamlin in all reality. Indianapolis is up in the air completely. You got Richmond coming again. That's going to be a Toyota track. And you could see, Bubba Wallace ran top 5, top 10 all day at Richmond in the spring. So that's a possibility there. You got Daytona, which is a wild card. Michigan, which will probably be a Ford. And then Darlington. And Darlington is kind of a wild card, especially with it being the final race of this regular season. There's going to be a lot of jostling. And I think
you're going to see strategy galore.
Yeah. Darlington's going to be a really good race this summer.
I think everyone's going to be on a different strategy there. Especially every driver that's not locked in.
Yes. Yeah, Darlington is going to be a very big wild card, and I think it's going to be wilder than what we see at Daytona as a season closer for the regular season. With that said, I think your points will be locked up after Daytona. I think your regular season champion will be locked up post Daytona.
Elliott's only minus 14 right now.
That's just what I'm saying. We'll see. So
Well, you didn't say who's going to have it locked up.
no, I did not specify who. I was just saying it will be.
All right. Well, we got Alex Bowman plus 65, Ryan Blaney plus 64, Busher plus 32, Wallace plus 8, and he is the cutoff driver. Kai Bush is making his comeback. He's now only down 8. And then Joey Logano finds himself 16 points below the cut line, as well as Chase Briscoe 27 points below the cut line.
Briscoe and lower is a must-win situation. So
Briscoe's
that's
close enough to where if SHR found some speed and was able to hold on and throw together their last hoorah, their last season, he's close enough in points to where I'm not calling him a must-win. Everyone behind him, because behind him is obviously Cindric and Suarez, who have won 20th and back, for sure must-wins.
yeah,
But
20th place is 93
Briscoe's
points
close
back.
enough. But it is a lot easier to lose 73 points than it is to gain 27.
Yes. So, now, as a small side note on that, who would you expect to be a wild card winner outside of the top 20 in points? Or anybody that we just mentioned, anybody below. So you would have McDowell, Gilliland, Hocevar, Barry, Gregson, Jones, Priest, Stenthouse, Nemechek, Hamrick, LaJoy. That's to your top 30.
As much as I'd like to think Corey LaJoy could win, that's probably not going to happen. Hamrick, no. Nemechek, no. Stenhouse, no. Priest, no. Jones, Darlington.
Darlington is the cut
Eric
race.
Jones could win at Darlington.
Mm-hmm.
Noah Gragson, also very good at Darlington. And super speedways, and his mile and a half stuff's been pretty good lately.
His mile and
Josh
half is
Berry
picking
could
up.
win. Josh Berry could win at Richmond. Carson Hocevar might surprise you at a super speedway as well. Todd Gilliland might. I doubt it, but I think the one who has the most opportunities to win on different tracks is with the speed that Michael McDowell's had and qualifying and stuff. If they can put a race together, I think he's got the possibility to win on an oval that's not a super speedway. But he's
Right.
also got a good possibility to win on the last road course or the other super speedway. So I think Michael McDowell, which he's minus 93 to the cut, but I think he has the most realistic shot of the people that aren't within striking distance and points.
Mm-hmm.
So Briscoe, Bush, Logano, I'm not counting them. But 20th and on, I think he's got the most realistic shot to do that.
Okay.
What about you guys?
Who you got? Is outside that threshold that you think could be a winner?
I was actually looking at that, so give me a second. I've been looking.
Well, okay, I'll go off
Because
of mine.
I
Go
agree with McDowell. I feel like he does have a very good chance, but he to me is sometimes a wild card. He's either really good and really consistent, or he just kind of falls off.
I'm gonna say Noah Gragson.
I didn't even think about Gregson.
And I think he gets a win before Ty Gibbs.
That'll be all right. So here's something. Sorry, side note. Here's something we had mentioned before that we were kind of thinking Noah Gragson to the 19. I was listening to Dale Jr.'s podcast, and he brought up a good point. How would the dynamic of Noah Gragson and Ty Gibbs being teammates?
That'd be a funny dynamic, honestly.
Yeah, because I had kind of forgot about their beef because Noah Gragson wasn't good enough last year for their beef to continue from Xfinity into Cup.
Yeah,
it wasn't that he wasn't good enough; he just wasn't there.
Well, that too.
Well, before he wasn't there, he wasn't good enough.
So, well, who you got below that cut line? Oh, Justin Haley could sneak in at Daytona.
Yeah. I mean, he was running in the top 10 again this week at the road course at some points.
Dude.
Didn't he get stage points in stage 2?
Rick Ware Racing
thought he
has
finished in
found
like
speed.
9th.
What are y'all's thoughts on Gilliland and his season so far?
It's been pretty on par with Michael McDowell. He's only like 8 points, 6 or 7 or 8 points behind Michael McDowell.
He's
And
like
I mean, we've been
6.
real high on Michael McDowell, but I think he's been silently just as good.
Yeah, it's every time that they both have been qualifying within the top 10 in their rounds, almost every week. So front row's got the speed for the qualifying. They just got to get the race, put it together a race. So, but
I agree.
Gilliland, I could see Gilliland just pulling out something random. I could see him pulling an Indy. So
I do have the Penske Alliance.
So that was just kind of a random one, but I could see it happening.
What about Cindric?
He already won.
Cindric's got to win.
Oh yeah, you're right. Dang it.
Yeah, he won.
See, I completely forgot because that was
Remember,
one of those
remember
Daniels
I picked him
throw it at
last
the
week.
wall, see if it sticks
Yeah, I should have put
picks.
money on that one, buddy. All I'm gonna say, looking at the lines.
Can't sports bet in Alabama, unfortunately, or I
Can't in
most
Georgia
definitely
either.
would have.
DraftKings,
So
come
lame.
this way. We'll be your pilot.
Yeah. Sponsor us.
Yeah, we'll sponsor you with our voices. You got anybody before we go into
I
picks?
just named like 3 or 4.
Oh, you did. All right. Well, from there, I guess we're going to picks. Daniel, you get to kick us off, buddy.
This is my least favorite time of the week.
I just want to ask you guys a question.
What's up?
Do you remember when I was like 4 points behind everybody?
Now you're up by 4. How fancy doodah is that?
Yeah.
It is
All
what
right.
it is, man.
And so Chase Elliott was my pick. Obviously, he finished 4th. Tyler Reddick finished 8th, and Daniel Suarez finished outside the top 10 and 14th. And I obviously won that. So, and Alan finished 2nd, and Emily finished 3rd. So this week for Iowa, we're going to a racetrack that the NASCAR Cup Series has never been to. But many moons ago, when a young race car driver was racing for Roush in the Xfinity Series, he tended to win at Iowa a lot when he won back-to-back nationwide series championships. Do you know the driver I'm speaking of?
Please enlighten us.
So I think I know.
None other than Christopher Buescher. Unfortunately, we won't be able to hear Dale Jr. call him that on the NBC broadcast because NBC fired him. Well, they didn't fire him, but they
They
didn't
kindly
keep him.
parted ways.
Potato. Well, to keep with young drivers.
Also, his teammate Brad Keselowski was part of the tire test there. So, and what we've seen with the tire test is if you tire test, that translate, i.e., Joey Logano at North Wilkesboro, and I believe it was Chastain, Truex, and who else? I can't remember who the Ford was. Buescher. Buescher tire tested at SEMA, and if you look at that, there besides Truex running out of the gas, they were all going to finish top 5. So, I think the whoever does the tire test, that's a good way to pick.
Yeah, it's a good way to go. So, unfortunately, I don't have that pick option. So, I'm going to go with my next best thought, and that's going to be a Chevy in William Byron. Of course, I'm putting him right in the dead center of his summer slump that we predicted earlier in the year. So, we'll see if this may be the breaker of the curse. But on to Emily.
I feel like continuously I'm just in a hole about who. Because Keselowski seems good, but I feel like I want to save him.
He was at the tire test.
But Christopher Bell was also at the tire test.
And Toyotas have notoriously been the best on the short tracks this year.
Do you have Logano? Logano wins every time they go to a new track.
Nobody has Logano.
I know
we don't have Logano.
I was hoping I had Logano still. So, Yeah, there's no data on Iowa, so I would
I
go
know
off
that's
one of
what's
your.
rough, so I'm just looking at intermediate track
Oh, it's not.
stats,
It's a
and
short
there's
track.
according to this, it's a intermediate.
Interesting.
According to driveraverages.com, it is an intermediate.
Is it? Well, I'd go with a tire test guy. They got to run like 8,000 laps there, so
Is it a short track or is it intermediate? Because this is saying intermediate.
I don't know. I'd go with a tire test guy.
I think it's kind of like how they call
Or
New
is it like
Hampshire
a
a short track, but it's not really a short track, and Phoenix a short track, but it's not really a short track.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Because I was like, why does it say intermediate? I was gonna go off this. Alright, Keselowski or Bell? Because my
A
other
coin.
thought is I could save Keselowski.
Don't have a coin.
Where are you going to put Keselowski at? Daytona or Michigan?
I was thinking, New Hampshire.
I would go because you have two picks that neither one of us have. I would go Keselowski and then Bell at New Hampshire. Bell's one of the best guys at New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
Pause. Keselowski has a 5th average finish at New Hampshire versus Bell's 10.7. But Bell does have a win there.
Precisely.
You can't go wrong with either one of them.
They're both picks.
I know, but I don't know if I should save one of them or not.
At this point, it doesn't matter. We're so far in a hole.
I know, I do feel like I'm in a hole.
So
Hey,
who you got?
we did try and. Never mind.
He was going to try to tell me that y'all told me to make a different decision or something.
We have tried to help. You would have got
Well, I
a
was
win
just
if you
going to point
listened to us
about.
like 3 weeks ago.
Which one?
I don't remember. It was like 3 weeks ago you got the win if you'd listened to what we said.
No, because Gregson.
There's been
The only
multiple
reason
times
you
that
got
you
the win
lost
was because
that you would have
Blaney
won.
and Gregson.
Yeah, there's
Either
been
way.
multiple times that if you'd have picked who we told you to, you would have won.
I think they're both solid. And we gotta wrap up the episode.
Fine. Let's go with tire test. Let's go Keselowski.
Keselowski. Brad K. Watch him win.
Watch him not.
Watch Bell win.
See, I
Wouldn't
have
that be
this
something?
very special knack lately of anyone I pick just gets spun. They'll be having a great run.
Well, it's not a road course, at least.
That's not.
Speaking of that, stage points
Hey,
for
he finished
Keselowski.
13th.
Yeah.
He finished 13th.
He still got spun, I think, in that big wreck. So it was still like it was
Oh yeah,
supposed
when
to be.
Josh Berry went bowling.
Yeah, all was right in the world. So, well, guys, don't forget to follow us on our social medias. If you are watching, you'll see it on the screen. If not, TikTok, Instagram, at Gas on the Right, X, Twitter, at Gas_right. And you can find us everywhere else on Gas is on the Right podcast. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure to rate, review, and give us a follow. We really appreciate it. And join us for the live streams at 9:30 p.m. on Mondays. Until next week, guys, we will see you later.